things to keep right.
Hey everyone, welcome back or welcome aboard. You're watching Prepare to Go There, the most overlooked and underrated coaching conversation on the internet. That's my opinion, but I'm just convinced that our future deserves our focus today. My name is Peter, and it has been a joy to go on this extended coaching journey with so many friends and leaders. You guys are rocking it in so many amazing spaces. You inspire me to put in the work, and I hope that these conversations are adding more fuel to your focus. We've got to keep your future on the front burner, and so that's why we're doing this. Prepare to Go There is a daily coaching journey, and it's designed to help you lead yourself and stay focused on the future. Today is Tuesday, September 28, 2021. Welcome back to the Future Frontier. It's my experience and observation that most people don't know how to lead others into a better future. Not by default, at least, not automatically. This isn't something that they teach you, right? And it's because there's a lot of emphasis on the public side of leadership, but not a lot of emphasis on the private side of leadership, the personal side of leadership. And I call that self-leadership. It's the ability to lead yourself. It's the ability to be internally motivated, not just externally motivated. It's the idea that you're going to look at yourself to take responsibility, to take ownership, to inspire yourself, and then you're going to lead by example. All right, so I'm so thankful that we get to go on this journey day by day and have a conversation that keeps us focused on the private preparation that's needed, the unseen, the unnoticed, necessary preparation. It's not always fun. It's not fun to talk about. It's definitely not fun to do, but it is necessary. And I heard a quote that discipline is doing what you don't want to get something that you do want later on. Something to that effect. But it's this idea of delayed gratification. And so just having the conversation can help us just keep company with one another as we are putting in that preparation day in and day out, and figuring out how to lead ourselves into the future we're talking about, dreaming about, praying about. We're talking today about time budgeting, and this is just one of many, many conversations that we've already had and that we're going to have. And so if you want to just stay on the journey with us, I invite you to join the email community. It's called Future Friends. I send out an email once a week with a roundup of all this content. And then I'll also share info and incentives about the coaching projects that I'm making with you in mind. And so we've started a conversation about time budgeting, why it's so important. And basically, time budgeting saves more than just time. We realize that budgeting is good for your money, but we don't always do the same with our time. We say time is money because it implies that it's valuable. And it is, but it's more than that. It is irreplaceable. So how do we better steward our time? Because I don't know if you've noticed, you blink and it's like days become weeks, weeks become months, months become years. And now I'm starting to think in terms of decades, not just days. Not because I'm that cool, but because I've just lived a little bit longer. And I know that honestly, it's probably going to be here before we know it. And that's not to be sad. That's to be joyful, hopeful, to realize that patience is a superpower for people who want to go the distance and make a difference. That patience is actually enjoyable. It's a ally, and that time is actually redemptive. I was watching a movie, and they were basically kind of framing up time like it's some horrible thing and it's some bondage and chains and prison and all this stuff, and they're trying to live forever and do this stuff, and you're like, what movie was that? It was a Marvel movie. I'll just leave it at that. And that was when it dawned on me, they're probably not telling the right story. And I began to realize that even though the default of every day leads to delay and decay, there's actually purpose in patience, and that it can actually be very redemptive, and that this idea of time and living on a timeline can actually be very good for us if we'll leverage it. Like, if we don't do anything at all, if we do nothing, if we don't get involved, don't get engaged, if we don't actually have an empowered approach to the way we're deciding and designing our lifestyle, then yeah, it's gonna go crazy. It's gonna just bottom out and go into anarchy. But if we will be intentional, if we'll choose to be more relational, if we'll stay inspired and make choices and changes that fuel our productivity, our creativity, I really believe that we can see amazing things in the future. I have hope for the future. I know people are complaining. I know people are being critical. I know that there's a lot of even good warning that's going on. People need to wake up. People need to get engaged with all of these issues at hand. But I still have a lot of hope for the future. And when I think of the future, you know, I think that hope is what gets us there. So let's get you out of time debt, calendar debt. Let's get out of a poverty mindset. Let's get into an abundance mindset. Let's get into a growth mindset, and let's take action where we are today. Let's make the most of today so that way we can multiply our time with the future. So here are some thoughts. A quote I found, Dr. Seuss said, "How did it get so late so soon?" Right? Isn't that kind of paradoxical? Here you are imagining that Christmas is going to take so long. And yet, when we get there, we're going to be like, whoa, where did 2021 go? And so we have to be willing to think, plan, and engage with the timeline sooner than we think, because it's going to take more work to actually accomplish these goals and projects and appointments, these events, these moments. But it's also going to like be a meaningful process to get there. That it's not just about getting to the checkpoint, getting to the figurative finish line. It's about enjoying the journey and growing as you go on that journey as well. And so here's a quote. I'm going to give credit to my mentor, Enrique de Bale, who told it to me. And he said, if you attempt too much, you'll achieve too little. If you attempt too much, you'll achieve too little. Now, what I'm not saying is, you can do anything, go for the moon, like go big or go home, dream big. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying if you attempt too much, particularly at the same time, then you will be divided. You'll be scatterbrained. You'll be spread too thin, and you will achieve too little. There's another quote by Sean Cannell who says, Focus, the acronym, follow one course until successful. There's a Russian proverb, or maybe it was some other saying, said, whoever chases two rabbits catches none. I like that. I saw it in the book, The One Thing. I think the author was Keller, maybe. But the point is that we have to focus our time. We have to focus our energy. We have to focus what we are paying attention to, because everything we're paying attention to is either spending our time or it is investing our time. Let me say that again. Whatever you're paying attention to is either spending your time or it is investing more time in the future. So it's really important that we are paying attention to the things that get our attention. Do we actually notice where our time is going? So many of the parts of our life are fragmented. And in our work life balance culture, we're constantly juggling things, and we're trying to manage things, and we're trying to balance things. And if you've noticed, our lives are becoming a little bit more fragmented each year. It's not integrated. It's not taken on holistically. It's not, growing out of a central core thesis or big idea. It's becoming a little bit more fragmented each year. I'll give you two examples. One is your phone, and the other is your car. So your phone is becoming a little bit more fragmented because your phone has these things called apps, right? Apps. And so there's an app for that. And so we are taking on more and more apps that help us do more and more activities. And we've really just had to grow more accustomed to a work style where we're bridging and integrating and pairing and connecting and overlapping all of these apps. And sure, there's space on the phone. Yes, it's just a thumb, thumb swipe away. You can just kind of go a little bit here or a little bit there with your thumb. But the phone is a picture, kind of a metaphor of life, that you're living compartmentalized in this tab and that tab, in this app and that app, in this stream and that inbox. And so our focus and our attention is being spread very thin. If you attempt too much, you will achieve too little. This is going to make a little bit more sense when we put it in the language of a budget, when we actually begin to look at our time in categories. The same way you would budget your money, you want to budget your time. But increasingly, life is becoming a little bit more fragmented. And so then we look at the next example, the car. Now, I'm not just talking about what kind of car you have, but what you're doing in the car. You are driving all over the place. You're commuting. You go from the house to the store, to the school, to the game, to the wherever. And life is a series of commutes, right? And we're going here, we're going there. And yes, we're enjoying those moments, but there's distance, there's travel time, there's commute time in between. Now, I get it. Life has changed. More and more people are home based or they're working remotely, and that's cool. But that is a metaphor. That is a snapshot, a picture of what I'm talking about. Life is becoming a little bit more fragmented. And so this can be difficult when we begin to budget our time. Because if everything is so fragmented and we're filled with all of these options, then what happens is we begin to take on more and more and more. It's like the apps. oh, it's just another app. That's fine. But now pair it with the car metaphor. There's a commute time involved. There's going to be some sort of time switching, task switching. There's going to be some sort of added tax, a time tax, so to speak. You're just like, Peter, you're doing way too many metaphors. It is Metaphor Tuesday, guys. Hang tight with me. But we're not thinking about our time, our day, our week holistically. And when you do, it will unlock new and needed insights to help you find things that are wasting your time, draining your energy. You can collect your gains, and then you can shift that time and reinvest it in better choices and better activities that can be valuable to your future. That's what we want. We don't want to be spread so thin. We don't want to be scatterbrained. We don't want to be divided where we're attempting too much and not realizing it. We don't even realize how much we've downloaded, how much we've committed to, how much we've taken on. It's just kind of happening in the background. And we don't realize what it really costs us, what it really includes. It's not just the moment you're there. It's the before, the after, the task switching, the build up, right? All of these pieces and more have to be factored in. And so you can manage your time and energy, but you can still feel spent at the end of the day. Do you feel spent at the end of the day? You're exhausted. Things feel out of control. You feel like you were more on a treadmill than getting traction, and you're wondering what is going on. Maybe you are in time debt. Maybe you are losing time, not multiplying time for your future. You're not getting more time. You're losing time. You're actually going to be spending more time in the future to catch up on things, to try things, do things. I'll give you another example. I heard somebody say you're going to be spending money on your health one way or the other. Either you're going to spend it on the things going before healthcare, or like preventative and nutrition and good food and the supplements and whatever else kind of goes into that space, or you're going to be spending your money in the hospital. You're going to be spending your money trying to fix the things that didn't go right. So we have the choice today to evaluate, where are we spending our time, and is it putting us in calendar debt, or is it helping us to multiply our efforts for the future? So let's look at another line here. Hope you're encouraged. When you feel spent, it's because you cannot pay attention to the right things anymore. When you feel spent, what is really at stake? It's not just that you feel tired and you need food and you need sleep. It's more than that. It is that you have maxed out. There is no more emotion, motivation, energy in your account to pay attention to the right things, the things that are needed, the things that are going to move you forward, the things that are going to make a difference in your relationships, in your working results, in your personal growth. And so you're not able to pay attention to the right things anymore. And what we do, here we go, going back to the fragmented view of life, we're spending all of our time, we're spending all of our energy, we're spending all of our best ideas in very, very small transactions, very, very small time transactions. We're doing 5 minutes checking email here, 10 minutes looking at social media there, this thing, that thing. And really, when you look back at the day, you're doing this time budgeting diagnosis. You say, oh, man, where did all the time go? And you can't find it. You can't tell. You can't really put your finger on any one thing because it's a number of little things. It's this very fragmented picture. It's like you got this mirror and you smashed it and you got all of the shards and all of the fragments left. And that's what happens when you feel spent. When you are emotionally spent, you're relationally spent, you're like, I don't have the time to make bigger investments. So I'm just going to do easy things. I'm just going to do simple, smaller things. I'm going to do a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit this, a little bit that. And we can't just keep spending our time in easy ways and then a million small ways. We have to be reallocating our time into bigger goals, bigger roles that actually force multiply who we're becoming with the future in mind. And what I'm not saying here is just take it easy, just relax more, just have more downtime, just, sleep in longer, don't work harder. I'm not saying that. The enemy of this coaching conversation today is not hard work. The enemy of today's conversation is you being ignorant, you being unaware, you being distracted and not realizing that you are bleeding out time. The same way you could be losing money and not know it. You can be losing something more valuable, and that's your time. So it's being overcommitted. Being overcommitted is the challenge. Being overextended is the crisis. And we don't even realize it. We don't realize it. And we're actually wasting our time on things that is having a negative impact on our well-being. You see how like sinister this is? Not only do you not realize all the things that are happening, but all the things that are happening are having a negative impact on your health, on your mental health, on your relationships, because you're not taking ownership on the things that are in your control. Definition of overcommit: to bind or obligate oneself beyond the capacity for realization. Man, I love that. To obligate yourself beyond the capacity for realization. You may be in a boat right now. Here comes another metaphor. You may be in a boat right now that is sinking, literally leaking. There's holes in the boat and you don't even realize it. You got to find those holes. You got to plug them. You got to stop all of the water coming in. You have to stop it. Like whenever you're budgeting your money, you don't remember all of those auto pay transactions that are going on. You just made it easier. You automated all of these charges, all these subscription services, all of these membership fees, and every month it's happening without your knowledge, and you're not thinking about it. You just think everything's fine, and you're not really noticing what's going on with you. And that can happen with our time as well. So really, this is a lesson on stewardship. This is a stewardship issue. And being overcommitted is dangerous to our future ability. I didn't say working hard is the issue. I didn't say being invested is the problem. No, we should be more invested. I'm talking about making bigger investments in your future. I want you to make bigger investments in your health. I want you to make bigger investments in your leadership. I want you to make bigger investments in your worldview. I want you to make bigger investments in your team, in your business, in that movement, in that ministry. I want you to make bigger investments, but you don't have any time left. because you've been negligent, and now you're fragmented and you can't even track where all your time's going because it's a little here, a little there, a little here, a little there, but it really is all adding up into a negative impact on you and what you're capable of. And you don't realize why you're so weary, why you're so burdened, why you're so burnt out. And it's because you're experiencing the death of 1,000 paper cuts. You're experiencing all of these little things that have built up over time. And if we are willing to be faithful with a little stuff here and there, then it will actually snowball in the other direction. We can experience positive net gain. We can experience compound interest. We can experience like massive ROIs on our time and in the things we invest that time in. So I'm fired up for you. I want to help you really identify, where is my time going, get down to hours and minutes if needed. And then after we get some categories, we can better prioritize how we're going to invest more, not less. I'm not asking you to give less. I'm not saying that you shouldn't spend your life. I'm saying spend your life on the right things. I'm saying, like, literally, people are going to call it extravagant. People are going to call it foolish. The things that you go for, they don't get because they don't see what you see. They don't have the value system that you do right now. But the way you invest your life is going to be proof of the truth that you are embracing, the truth that is setting you free, so that way you can be a part of setting others free. I really mean that. Like, I want to be fully invested in the things that matter. I don't want to be fragmented and distracted by lesser things. Don't be overcommitted. Don't be overextended. That's not a good leverage point. You can't have any leverage like that. Maybe I'm talking out of school here. Maybe there are people that are going to be, laughing me down in the chat. I don't care. I want to help you identify the few focused areas that you can be really invested in. And I want you to leverage the days that you do have to make the most impact on the future. All right. So let's see if there's something else here waiting on us. Budget your time with the bigger picture in mind. It's that simple. That's all I'm asking. Budget your time with the bigger picture in mind. Don't just be making decisions, making choices, making commitments based on what you can see on a day-to-day run. You have to be doing the math, doing the future math, and saying, okay, if I make this commitment today, if I do the same thing the same way for the next decade, where's that going to put me? I mean, we're creatures of habit, right? We're very habitual. We don't realize when we put our lifestyle on automation, we make the habits and then the habits make us. We've got to be very intentional about these emotional transactions and these personal investments and figure out, what is this going to look like when I copy paste this a few years from now? Where is this going to be taking me? And don't just plan things that are public. Don't just plan your public life. Don't just plan your work life. Don't just plan your social life, your social media life. Make sure that you're planning the personal side, the private side, the part that is still growing, the part that is meaningful and valuable, the part that is you and your story. Think of holistic storytelling. Make sure that you're budgeting with the bigger picture in mind. What is going to matter in the future? What's going to be important in the future? What's going to be super rare in the future? What's going to be like a serious issue for you in the future? And then get after it today. Man, I'm sure we've all felt this and thought this before. We can tell ourselves, I need more time. I need more time. And that's crazy to me, but we have to realize what's happening when we're saying that. Why do we keep feeling that we need more time? We're putting in more hours than ever. I think working remote or working digitally or working in a connected economy, working in a creative economy, working in a service economy, we're spending more of our time, not less, but we're getting this time inflation with it. We're investing more time and getting less value out of it. Why is that happening? Maybe it's because we're using all that time up and we're not getting the job done. It's a lower, lesser quality of time. We're not really focused, we're not really present, we're not really making the most of the days we have. We're physically there, but honestly, we're somewhere else. We're present, but we're emotionally exhausted. We're we're working, but we're really like limping. We're really just too tired to give it our all. And so we find ourselves spending more and more time only to see less and less results. Maybe you've experienced that kind of time inflation, a time inflation crisis where time isn't worth the same thing it used to be. Man, when we were younger, it was like, it felt like you had more time. But now it's like, where's the time going? We have to redeem the time. It's like more and more time is being withdrawn from the time budget for recovery and reluctance, maybe even resistance. What do I mean by that? It means we're actually wasting more time going through the mental game of resisting the things we know to do. We're not doing the right things at the right time. And so we're wasting time having that conversation in our head, trying to procrastinate it, trying to offload it, trying to justify that it's not for us or not for now. And we're creating this negative compound effect where if you literally just went for it and did it and got it done, whatever that good, right, needed thing is, it would save so much time. And then it would actually create a positive snowball effect in a better direction. So don't waste time just having that, critical conversation in your head. Instead, grow in gratitude, be aware of what's getting your attention, and realize that every time you're paying attention to something, you're either spending it on something that's going to bankrupt you personally, or it's going to multiply you. It's going to grow you for the future. And maybe you need just like a direct conversation to help you start getting out of calendar debt. Maybe you're one conversation away, one honest, one direct conversation away from really looking, not beating around the bush, but really looking at what your life looks like from a calendar view, not from an emotional view, not from a routine view, not from a stereotype, not from your work status, but like your whole life, personal, relational, vocational, spiritual, mental, emotional, whatever, all those dynamics that make you so unique and so needed. Like lay that all out on the calendar and say, how's it really going? Because when you start looking at your life objectively with that calendar view and you begin to see in hard data the way you've been deciding to use your time, it's gonna it's not going to lie. It's not going to lie. Thanks, Xavier. I want to help you to really get out of calendar debt, because many of you have big dreams. You have the willingness to put in the work. You have the willingness to do hard work. You have the willingness to be invested. I'm not asking you to do less. I'm calling you to do more. I'm not telling you that you are, being too hard on yourself. I'm saying there's more in you than you realize, and you have the potential of multiplying your time. But you can't be making that money and wasting that money at the same time. So many people, they think that they've got a good gig because they have a big income, but they're still living hand to mouth, and they're not stewarding the money that's coming in, and then it's going out just as quickly. They're losing it just as quickly. And what happens is we hustle so hard on good work, and then we're emotionally, physically spent. We're exhausted, and then we basically break down, and we basically fall out on the couch right in front of the TV or the Netflix or the streaming or whatever, and we say, "Oh, this is my self-care." Come on, this is getting really close to home, y'all. This is my self-care. I need this. This is something I need. And there it is. All that time that you were trying to get ahead, all that time is going straight back into the entertainment. You know what entertainment is? It is two words: enter and tainment or detainment. It is detaining us from entering in. Come on. Whoa. I'm having fun now. Don't overcommit yourself. Realize where you are invested. Where do you need to be invested, and what areas? I mean, if you were an investor, you would want to know stuff about where your investment's going. You would want to know the backstory. You would want to know the projections. You would want to understand all the logistics involved. And yet we don't care to think through our planning approach. We just show up, we just kind of throw some stuff together. Say, oh yeah, I need to do that. And your whole strategy is a task list, a to-do list. Your whole strategy for life is just what needs to get done next. And it's not even factored into a bigger picture. Budget your time with a bigger picture. Yes, it's like Tetris. Yes, you can fit all the work stuff in one day or 1 week, but you're not just factoring in work. You're factoring in your health. You're factoring in your key relationships. You're factoring in your spiritual growth. You're factoring in the future. You have to know what that future is even going to look like to even put it into your present. Keenan Callahan says we look to the future to know what to do in the present. If we attempt too much, we achieve too little. It's time to get focused. I'm here to help you focus on your future and then lead yourself there. You may not even realize how overcommitted you are until you begin to verbalize it. When you verbalize everything you're doing, everything you want to do, everything you've told people you will do, and you verbalize it, then you can visualize, wow, I might be overcommitted. You don't even realize how many calendar clashes you have, but calendar clashes lead to calendar crashes. And things are going to crash, things are going to fall apart. And what's happening is you're setting yourself up for mediocrity. You're setting yourself up for underperforming, because wherever you're overextended, you're going to begin to underproduce. You're underproducing. That's why we have to get pruned. We get pruned so we can bear more fruit. We say, oh, that's a good word. Yeah, that's my word. Yeah, the Lord's just pruning me. Show me where you're getting pruned. Show me where on the calendar, what lifestyle choices, what lifestyle changes are actually making a difference on helping you go the distance in your future. You will not even know where you're overcommitted until you go through this exercise. Until you go through the exercise and stress test your own planning approach. You have to stress test your own logic. You have to stress test what you think is real and realistic. We don't even know what's realistic until we stress test it in these tools. You get a piece of paper, you can do a pie chart, you can do a graph, you can do lines, whatever, but you give me your budget for a 24-hour day. You can do it in a timeless sense, like, okay, this is the way I want a 24-hour day to go. And then you have to say, does that actually work? Like, does that actually make sense with all of the things you've already committed to? And what you will find is that there's probably going to be some calendar clashes. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to go through a time budgeting exercise, and it will help you to look at all of the calendar commitments at the same time. That's where we miss it. When we get fragmented, when we get compartmentalized, when we say, okay, this is all the stuff I'm going to do personally, this is all the stuff I'm going to do the work. That's why I only use one calendar. I don't have all these different calendars. I share different calendars with other people. Like if it's something that the team is doing, if it's something that the church community is doing, if it's something that the business is doing, if it's something that, whatever, that's fine, because I don't have to be a part of all of that to see it happen. I can make a contribution, I can make an investment, and it's going to force multiply into a bigger outcome. But for me, for Peter, I have one calendar because I'm one person. I have one calendar because it represents where I am in the time and space continuum. It represents where I am on the map. I can't be in 5 places at the same time. And people say, well, it's good to know. It's just good to know that this is going on, that's going on. And no. You can't be in more than one place at the same time from a logistical standpoint. You have to. And then what we do is we make the calendar so tight. We make the commitment so narrow and so precise that there is literally no buffer. There's no margin for error, for resting, for eating. There's no way to deviate, because we're just so micro focused on this fragmented workflow. It has to all happen perfectly, or the whole thing falls apart, because we've created this big tower of Jenga. We're not really invested deeply in a few things. We've just stacked ourselves so tall with a lot of little commitments. And then if one thing falls apart, we've lost our mojo. We have to start over. So try this. Look at all the calendar commitments at the same time. Look at all the calendar commitments at the same time. You're not going to get out of calendar debt at this, in one day. It's not going to happen in one day. It's going to take time. You have to actually sacrifice some time. You have to sow some time to reap it. You may not be ready to do a calendar budget for the whole month, but you can definitely start with a calendar budget for one day. You know what I mean by calendar budget, right? 24 hours, a zero-sum budget. You have to intentionally plan where you imagine, where you can see all that time going. And it'll do two things. One, you have to actually make a decision. It'll force you to make very clear decisions. One of the first things it'll deal with is it will bring any indecision to the surface. If there's any indecision, it'll bring that to the surface. But the other thing is it will begin to negotiate all of these different aspects of your life. And that's what I refer to as multifaceted focus. You have to have multifaceted. It's still one focus. You still have the one thing, this one thing I do, forgetting what's behind me so I can keep going for what's in front of me. It's still one thing, but it's factoring in. Everything is getting factored in through the one thing. It's not fragmented. And I'm telling you, a lot of people get in trouble this way. I'm heartbroken by this. A lot of people get in trouble because they think that they can just coast in some areas to get ahead in other areas. They think they can make trades. And they think that there's some parts of their life, particularly the parts people don't see, they skip it. And maybe your root structure is way more important than the leaves and the branches. You got to focus on the things that help you grow, the things that keep you strong for the storms and the long haul. Now, what's really fun, at first, it's going to be shocking. At first, you're going to be like, oh no, I'm definitely in calendar debt. I mean, I've been there. I may still be there. I don't know. I need to do this again. That's probably why I'm having this conversation. But what happens is you put everything out on the table. You put everything out on paper. You have to verbalize it. That will help you visualize it, and then that'll help you organize it. Okay, so I'm talking it out. You can do this with a friend, with your spouse, whatever. You put it on paper first. Then you begin to see it's all random. It's all crazy. There's no, order or organization to it. Then you begin to really visualize and take it in. Oh, wow, there's a lot here. And now you're beginning to expose calendar clashes. I mean, your logic will get stress tested. I've already said that. But you're like, all right, I got this amazing plan. We're going to do all this stuff. And then you're like, yeah, with 4 hours of sleep for the next 3 years? Like, there's no way that you can sustain all this stuff you're putting out there. And so it would be better to go slower for a season to pick up momentum that multiplies your time for the future. Put it out there. And at first, you're just kind of doing a lot of these gotcha moments. And it's kind of like the reality TV show when they're walking around the house and they're showing how bad it is at first, before they do the amazing transformation. It's going to be like that. Okay. And that's cool and that's fun. And you can laugh at yourself later. And I think you have to be lighthearted about this. You can't take yourself so seriously. You take the mission seriously, but you don't take yourself that seriously, because the mission is going to go on with or without us. That's why we want to prepare to go there. We want to show up ready. And so we're putting this all out here, making sure that our lifestyle is, moving forward with intentionality and integrity. And then after that, you're going to start having fun. And the fun is reallocating time that was being wasted and then putting it into better areas, taking time away from the bad stuff and going harder, going stronger on the good stuff. Like, for instance, I realized that my sleep was not effective. It was not as effective as it could be. Let me say it that way. I'll tell you a few things right off the top. Number one, I was going to bed with so much stuff. I was thinking about so much stuff. Okay. Another thing, probably obvious, I got a lot of blue light. Okay, I'm still scrolling, thinking through stuff because I'm trying to get stuff off my mind. So I'm trying to, divert. So I got blue light. Then we got the stuff going on in my head. Then I'm just kind of putting myself out here. Hope this is edifying somebody else because um, I'm breathing. I'm mouth breathing at night. I'm sleeping with my mouth open. Okay, well, little did I know. Thankfully, I have an amazing wife who is coaching me, and she says, "Hey, when you breathe with your mouth, it's like it puts your body in stress. Puts your body in stress. You're not getting a better quality of oxygen, of sleep. You're supposed to like actually breathe through your nose, so you're like filtering the air you're breathing." And I was like, I never knew that. That's so good. Well, I didn't know how to do that. So what did I do? Literally, we invested, no joke, in Sir Joy knows right there. Sleep tape, sleep tape. What does that mean? It means it's like duct tape for your mouth. It's safe tape that is specifically made to help you keep your mouth closed at night. I needed it. I needed help. I put the sleep tape on. And at first, I was very weirded out. I only put like a little strip right there so I could still have like little cracks in my mouth to breathe, and I was like, "Oh my goodness, Lord Jesus, I am trusting you with tonight." What is going on here? I literally asked Sarah Joy, "Hey, do you think we could take shifts? Do you think just in case? Like, I don't know about this sleep tape thing." She's like, "For real, it's fine. It'll be okay." So I did it just a little bit. I did it the first night. And it helped. It actually helped. I woke up rested. I woke up rested. What does that mean? It means I'm not just saying I need more time to sleep. I don't just need to spend more time sleeping. I need to invest the time, invest the energy to get better sleep with the time I do have. Invest yourself in getting more quality sleep, more quality results, more quality work done, more quality focus, more quality conversations. So many times we're talking with people, at people, about people, and it's not productive. It's not effective. It's not helpful. You need to do like a legitimate time budget. You need to check that out and be like, hey, is that effective or not? How can I reinvest that time into something more effective? I'm serious. The amount of time that people have in your head, all of the real estate that you have put for people, they haven't talked to you probably in months. And you're still just entertaining all this stuff in your head. You're draining that way. Just take it to the Lord in prayer, commit your ways to the Lord, let your thoughts be established, get peace, get past it, keep focusing on what you need to be doing, quit being distracted and fragmented by the things out of your control, and put more energy, more time in the things that are in your control. Work on investing your best and reinvest your time into things that will matter more in the long run. I know it matters to you right now, but what's going to matter more? All right, let's land the plane. We still have a few more days to do this. This will be good. I want to help you get out of calendar debt. Literally put everything that you feel committed to on paper on purpose and verbalize it until you can visualize it until you can organize it. And then when you organize it, then you can prioritize where you need to be invested. I don't want to just be spent on 1,000 little things. I want to be deeply, fully invested in things that are going to multiply for the future. Come on. Hey, so I want to thank you for coming to the end of this coaching conversation today. You made it all the way. I appreciate it. I hope this was helpful. If it was, go ahead and like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Please go ahead and share this with other people. Let them know that there are friends and leaders that are going after the future together. We're having just a series of conversations that can help us keep going, keep growing. It's not about what we do one time, it's about what we're going to continue to do over time, and we're going to see the results after that season of faithfulness. So, I want to give you a gift. It is a free fail-proof planning guide. This is fun. It's kind of like I'm slowing down. I still got so much internal momentum here. This is good. I'm still going to be going today, by the way. After this, I'm going to be crushing it with something else. I got another big project I'm looking forward to. I'm doing projects with you in mind, and it's going to be amazing. So get the free fail-proof planning guide. I was thinking about, I want to just have like a little video. So when I finish this and then I know that I'm done, I won't just like keep going on, but I'll just click that little video and it'll kind of be like an outro bumper. Coming soon, coming soon. I'm just saying, you heard it first here on Prepare to Go There. But click the link down at the bottom and it'll get you into the email community. You can download the planning guide for free instantly, and it'll help you work on your roles and goals, identify some rhythms and routines to work that out, and then it'll help you get going so you can get better with a proven step-by-step plan. It's been really helpful for me. I wanted to share it with others. I've been getting great feedback, so I keep sharing it. But it's only going to be around a little bit longer. I got a few more gifts and projects and tools that I'll be sharing in the near future. Y'all, this was like episode 72. So we're going to blink and it's going to be 100, which is awesome. Remember, you're going places. That's why I show up every day for you. I want you to keep showing up every day for you too. Just have the conversation. There's no pressure to do this. I mean, if you watch this at, 9:30 at night, or if you watch this 5:30 the next morning, this is just here to be fuel for your focus. I have found whatever I listen to is probably what I'm thinking about. What I'm thinking about is what I'm focused on. What I'm focused on is where I'm going. And, show me your focus. I'll show you your future. And so I'm just here, just keep people encouraged, keep people going for it, keep you fired up, let you know you're not alone. Because a lot of this work, a lot of these conversations we're talking about are happening in a measure of isolation. I'm not talking about the bad kind of isolation, when you need to be in relationships and in community. I'm talking about like you're doing the work. It's not time to socialize. It's time to prepare. And so you got to have something to just keep you going. All right. Remember, let me hit this outro. We'll all be done for the day. I really appreciate you. Stay awesome. You are going places. And if you believe it, put in the work today so you can prepare to go there. See you tomorrow.